The notification sound echoed in my quiet apartment like a gunshot. Message delivered. I stared at my phone screen in absolute horror as the blue check mark appeared beneath the photo I had just sent. Not to Jenna, my roommate who I'd intended to show my new outfit to. Not to my sister who would have laughed and told me I looked hot. No, I had just sent a photo of myself in a very short silk slip dress with the caption, "Too much for drinks tonight," directly to Dr. Cassandra Reed, the director of the Medical Research Institute where I had been working for exactly 5 months. My hands started shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. A sound somewhere between a gasp and a whimper escaped my throat. This could not be happening. This absolutely could not be happening. Dr. Reed was not just my boss. She was one of the most respected researchers in neuroscience in the entire country. She had 2 PhDs, had published groundbreaking papers on neural pathways, and ran our institute with the kind of quiet competence that made everyone want to impress her. And I had just sent her what was essentially a thirst trap photo at 7:30 on a Friday evening. "I am going to die," I said out loud to my empty living room. "I am actually going to die of embarrassment, and they will find my body here clutching this phone." Before we go further, please drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. And hit that subscribe button because you're going to want to see how this absolute disaster of a situation resolves. Trust me, you won't believe where this goes. Let me give you context so you understand the full magnitude of this catastrophe. My name is Jordan Hayes. I'm 26 years old and I work as a research coordinator at the Reed Institute for Cognitive Sciences in Seattle. It's my dream job, the kind of position people spend years trying to get. I assist with clinical trials, manage data collection, coordinate with study participants, and basically make sure the brilliant researchers can focus on their work while I handle the logistical details. Dr. Cassandra Reed founded the Institute 8 years ago, after leaving a prestigious position at Stanford. She's in her late 30s, though she has the kind of timeless elegance that makes age irrelevant. Tall and lean with dark blonde hair she usually wears in a low bun, gray-blue eyes that seem to analyze everything, and a wardrobe of perfectly tailored professional clothes that probably cost more than my car. She's known for being brilliant but approachable, demanding but fair, and completely dedicated to the work. I developed a completely inappropriate crush on her approximately 2 weeks into my employment. It happened during a team meeting when she was explaining a new research protocol, and she pushed her glasses up her nose with one finger while talking about synaptic connections, and something in my brain just short-circuited. I remember thinking, oh no, this is a problem, and then spending the next 4.5 months trying to maintain professionalism while internally combusting every time she spoke to me. But Dr. Reed was completely unapproachable in a romantic sense. She never mentioned a personal life, never joined us for happy hours, maintained perfect professional boundaries, and gave absolutely no indication that she saw any of us as anything other than colleagues. I had convinced myself that my crush was just something I had to live with, a private torture that would eventually fade. And now I had sent her a photo that made my intentions, or at least my confidence in my own appearance, very, very clear. I watched in mounting horror as the status changed to Reed. She had seen it. Dr. Cassandra Reed had now seen me in a dress that barely covered my thighs with a caption that was clearly fishing for compliments. I started mentally drafting my resignation letter. Then the typing indicator appeared. 3 little dots that represented my imminent professional doom. They appeared, disappeared, appeared again. My heart was beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. Finally, a message came through. Jordan, I'm going to assume this message wasn't intended for me, though I have to say, the answer to your question is definitely no. It's not too much. I read the message 5 times, each time more confused than the last. The tone was not what I expected. There was no coldness, no reprimand, no suggestion that I had crossed a terrible line. If anything, it almost sounded warm. And she had answered the question I'd meant to ask Jenna, which meant she'd actually considered the photo instead of immediately deleting it in disgust. I typed and deleted 4 different responses before managing something coherent. Dr. Reed, I am so incredibly sorry. That was meant for my roommate. I'm absolutely mortified. Please feel free to delete it. And I completely understand if we need to have a conversation about professional boundaries on Monday. The response came quickly. First, you can call me Cassandra when we're not at work. Second, take a breath. I'm not upset. We all make mistakes with technology. Though I admit I'm curious where you were planning to go that required checking with your roommate first. The fact that she was asking follow-up questions instead of ending the conversation felt surreal. I decided honesty was probably my only option. Just drinks with friends from grad school. I haven't been out in weeks because we've been so busy with the new clinical trial. I was trying to convince myself to actually have a social life. Her reply made my stomach flip. Well, you should definitely go. And for what it's worth, you look beautiful. Your friends are lucky. I stared at that message for a full minute. Dr. Cassandra Reed, my brilliant, professional, completely unattainable boss, had just called me beautiful. That had to mean something, right? Or maybe she was just being kind, trying to make me feel less embarrassed about the whole situation. I took a risk. Thank you. That's very kind, especially considering I just accidentally sent you what amounts to a "do I look okay" text, like we're friends instead of colleagues. We could be friends, she wrote back. I know I maintain fairly strict boundaries at work, but that doesn't mean I don't value the people I work with. You've been doing exceptional work on the cognitive assessment protocol, by the way. I've been meaning to tell you that. The conversation was taking a turn I had not anticipated. We ended up texting back and forth for the next 20 minutes. She asked about my grad school friends. I asked about her weekend plans. She mentioned she was working on a new research paper. I told her about the book I was reading. It felt easy and natural and completely different from our professional interactions. Then she sent a message that changed everything. Can I ask you something, Jordan? And I need you to answer honestly. Do you think I'm intimidating? The question surprised me. I thought carefully about how to respond. You're definitely intimidating in the best way possible. You're brilliant and accomplished, and you have incredibly high standards. But you're also fair and patient when you're teaching. Why do you ask? Because I've been trying to figure out how to have a conversation with you for about 3 months now, and I keep convincing myself that I shouldn't because of our working relationship. But your accidental message tonight made me think, maybe I've been overthinking things. My heart started racing again, but this time with excitement instead of panic. What kind of conversation? The kind where I admit that I look forward to seeing you every morning more than I should. The kind where I confess that I volunteered to lead the Thursday afternoon research meeting specifically because I knew you'd be there. The kind where I acknowledge that I'm attracted to you and I have been for a while, but I was too concerned about professional ethics to do anything about it. I actually stood up from my couch and paced around my apartment twice before I could formulate a response. My hands were shaking again, but this time from adrenaline. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying that I'm tired of pretending I don't notice you. I'm tired of maintaining distance when what I actually want is to get to know you outside of work. I'm saying that if you're interested, I'd like to take you to dinner. Not as your boss, as someone who finds you fascinating and would like to spend time with you. Before I could respond, another message came through. But I need to be completely clear about something. If you're not interested, or if this makes you uncomfortable, we can pretend this conversation never happened. Your job is secure regardless. I would never let my personal feelings affect your professional opportunities. This is me taking a risk because life is short and I'm tired of wondering what if. I sat back down, my mind racing. Dr. Cassandra Reed wanted to take me to dinner. The woman I had been secretly pining after for months was apparently pining right back. This felt like a fantasy, like something my brain had invented. I have been trying not to have a crush on you since my second week of work, I typed. I thought you were completely out of my league. I thought you probably didn't even notice me except as an employee. So yes, I'm very interested. Extremely interested. Possibly embarrassingly interested. Her response came with a smile emoji, which I had never seen her use before. I notice you, Jordan. I notice when you bring me coffee without me asking. I notice when you stay late to help other team members with their data analysis. I notice that you make terrible science puns and then laugh at yourself. I notice everything about you. And that's exactly the problem. So, dinner tomorrow night? Tomorrow is perfect, I replied. Then I added, should we talk about the elephant in the room? The fact that you're my boss and this is complicated? We absolutely should, and we will, but maybe not via text. Can I call you? My phone rang less than 10 seconds later. I answered and heard her voice, softer and less formal than her usual professional tone. Hi. Hi, I said, suddenly feeling shy. This is weird, right? Talking on the phone like normal people instead of discussing research protocols. Very weird, she agreed. Good weird, though. I can hear traffic in the background. Are you still planning to go out with your friends? I laughed. Honestly, I completely forgot about that. I've been too distracted by this conversation. She made a thoughtful sound. You should go. Have fun with your friends. But Jordan, before you do, I want to address the work situation properly, because it's important to me that you feel completely comfortable. Okay, I said, settling back into my couch. We need to acknowledge that there's an inherent power imbalance here, she said. I'm not just your boss. I'm the director of the entire institute. That means we need to be very careful about how we approach this. I would never want you to feel pressured or to think that your job security or advancement depends on your personal relationship with me. I appreciate that, I said, and I promise I'll tell you if I ever feel uncomfortable. But Cassandra, I want this. I've wanted this. This isn't about my job or your position. This is about being genuinely interested in you as a person. Good. That's good. Her voice sounded relieved. Then here's what I'm proposing. We keep this completely separate from work. At the Institute, I'm still Dr. Reed and you're still my research coordinator. We maintain all the same professional boundaries. But outside of work, we're just two people getting to know each other. And if at any point either of us feels like it's affecting our professional relationship, we stop and reassess. Does that sound reasonable? It sounds perfect, I said. So tomorrow night. Where and when? There's a new farm-to-table restaurant in Capitol Hill called Harvest Moon. Have you been? I haven't, I admitted. Is it fancy? Should I be worried about my wardrobe choices? Again, she laughed. It's nice but not formal. You could wear that dress from the photo if you wanted to, though I might have trouble focusing on conversation. I felt my face heat up. Noted. Maybe I'll save that dress for a third or fourth date. So you're already assuming there will be multiple dates, she said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. That's confident of you. It's optimistic of me, I corrected. Her voice went soft. I like your optimism. I'll pick you up at 7 tomorrow. Text me your address. And Jordan, you can still go out with your friends tonight. You don't have to sit home thinking about this. Too late, I said. I'm definitely sitting home thinking about this. All night. Probably tomorrow all day, too. Good, she said. Me too. Have a good night, Jordan. You too, Cassandra. After she hung up, I sat there for probably 20 minutes just processing everything. Then I texted Jenna, who was at her boyfriend's apartment, and told her the entire story in a series of increasingly caps-locked messages. Her response was a string of shocked emojis, followed by, "This is the best wrong text story I have ever heard." The next day was torture. I woke up early, tried on approximately 12 different outfits, settled on dark green dress that was elegant without being too formal, changed my mind 3 times, and finally forced myself to stop obsessing. I spent the afternoon cleaning my apartment even though Cassandra was picking me up and wouldn't see it, then felt ridiculous for cleaning. By 6:30, I was ready and pacing. She arrived at exactly 7, which did not surprise me because Cassandra struck me as someone who was never late. When I opened my apartment door, I had to actively prevent my jaw from dropping. She was wearing black pants and a cream-colored silk blouse, her hair down in loose waves instead of her usual bun, and she looked so beautiful it made my chest ache. "You look incredible," she said, her eyes traveling over me in a way that made me feel warm. "Ready to go?" Dinner was everything I hoped it would be, and also completely surprising. Away from the Institute, Cassandra was more relaxed, more playful, more herself. She told me about growing up in Vermont, about how she'd been a weird, science-obsessed kid who spent more time in the library than anywhere else. She talked about her decision to leave Stanford, about wanting to build something of her own instead of working within someone else's structure. I told her about my family in Portland, about my younger sister who was in medical school, about how I'd almost become a doctor before realizing research was my real passion. We talked about books and hiking and our mutual hatred of Seattle's traffic. She made me laugh with stories about disastrous early research presentations, and I made her laugh describing my attempts to learn to cook during quarantine. The conversation flowed easily, naturally, without any of the awkwardness I'd feared. At some point between the main course and dessert, her foot touched mine under the table and stayed there, and that small point of contact felt electric. After dinner, we walked through Capitol Hill even though it was drizzling, because Seattle rain never bothered either of us. We talked about her research, about the new direction she wanted to take the institute, about my career goals. And then we stopped under the awning of a closed bookstore, and she turned to face me with a serious expression. "I need to say something," she said. "This is probably the best first date I've ever had. You're brilliant and funny and genuine, and I feel like I can be completely myself around you. But I also need to be honest about my concerns. I don't know how to navigate this situation perfectly. I've never dated someone I work with, and I'm worried about making mistakes that could hurt you or compromise the professional environment I've built." I reached for her hand. "I'm worried about that too. But Cassandra, I think the fact that we're both worried about it means we'll be careful. We'll communicate, we'll put boundaries in place, and if it doesn't work, we'll handle it like adults." Her fingers interlaced with mine. "You're being very mature about this." "I'm trying," I said. "Mostly I'm just happy to be here with you." She stepped closer. "Can I kiss you?" "Please," I said. She leaned in and kissed me, soft and sweet at first, then deeper as I responded. Her hand came up to cup my face, and mine moved to her waist, and everything else disappeared. When we finally pulled apart, we were both smiling. "That was worth the wait," she said. "Definitely worth the wait." Over the next 3 months, we built something careful and precious. At work, we were completely professional. She was Dr. Reed. I was Jordan. We kept our interactions appropriate, never showed favoritism, maintained all our usual boundaries. But after hours, we existed in our own private world. She introduced me to her favorite hiking trails in the Cascades. I took her to the little Thai restaurant near my apartment that made the best curry in the city. We spent weekends at her condo in Queen Anne, cooking together and reading and talking about everything. And slowly, carefully, we fell completely in love. The secrecy was hard sometimes. I wanted to tell my coworkers about the amazing woman I was dating, to share my happiness with the world. But we'd agreed to wait, to make sure this was sustainable before we navigated the complicated reality of an inter-office relationship with significant power imbalance. Cassandra was adamant about protecting both my career and the Institute's culture, and I respected that even when it frustrated me. 4 months into our relationship, one of our research teams published a major paper in a prestigious journal, and Cassandra organized a celebration at the Institute. There were speeches and toasts, and when she thanked the entire research team, her eyes found mine across the room and held for just a moment too long. After the formal part ended, I found her alone in her office, looking out the window at the Seattle skyline. "Congratulations," I said softly. "This is huge. You should be incredibly proud." "We should be proud," she corrected. "Your coordination work on the data collection was essential. You made this possible, Jordan." She glanced toward the door to make sure we were alone, then added quietly, "And I wish I could tell everyone out there that the brilliant research coordinator who helped make this happen is also the woman I'm completely in love with." My breath caught. "You love me?" She turned to face me fully. "I do." I've been wanting to say it for weeks, but I was waiting for the right moment. This might not be it, but the truth is I don't want to wait anymore. I love you, Jordan. You've made me happier than I thought possible. I know the situation is complicated, but I don't care. I want to be with you openly if you want that too. "I want that," I said immediately. "I love you too, Cassandra. So much." She smiled, that beautiful smile I'd come to treasure. "Then let's make this official. Let's go to HR, do this properly, make sure everything is documented and ethical. I want to be able to hold your hand in public. I want people to know that we're together." A week later, we met with Human Resources and officially disclosed our relationship. It was surprisingly straightforward. We filled out forms, discussed the Institute's conflict of interest policies, and agreed that I would report to Dr. Martinez instead of directly to Cassandra. The transition was smooth and honestly made my job easier in some ways. The team took the news better than I expected. A few people admitted they'd wondered, especially after noticing how we looked at each other during meetings. My friend Sarah from the data analysis team just laughed and said she was happy for us. There was no drama, no resentment, just general support and happiness. That was 6 months ago. Now Cassandra and I share her condo in Queen Anne, splitting expenses in a way that feels equitable. We still work at the Reed Institute. I've been promoted to senior research coordinator and now manage my own projects. We maintain professionalism at work, but we don't hide our relationship. Our colleagues know we leave together, that we spend weekends together, that we're building a life together. Sometimes in the evenings, when we're curled up on the couch with wine and takeout, Cassandra will pull up that original photo on her phone, which she saved despite never admitting it to me until months later. She'll smile and say it was the best accident that ever happened to her. And I'll kiss her and agree, grateful every day for the wrong message that led me to the right person. The photo I meant to send to my roommate ended up going to exactly who it was supposed to reach, even if I didn't know it at the time.